Welcome back, guys, to Tennis Ace. We are on day 3 of our prologue route, it's called, supposedly. So, these days goes day 1, day 2, day 3. Basically, they're all prologue before we choose our route. So if anybody's thinking, why haven't we chosen a route yet? This isn't extracurricular activities. This is not gonna be one where we're gonna choose it on the first day. But yeah, any other announcements? So this episode's gonna be shorter than the other episodes. Well, far shorter if you compare this one to all of them. This one's gonna probably clock in about 27 minutes. That's what I have for at least the screen recording of it. So yeah, that's gonna be a shorter one. And the reason why is because if I did this as a longer episode and did the full day, it would be a good hour. It'd be a solid hour. So I would definitely not want to keep you guys that long. Sure, I did for day 1 just so we could get it done in 3 episodes and not really have to keep doing multiple episodes of it. I know Decker Link is doing 5 episodes right now of it. He's gonna go on to 6 for it. I just think that's a bit much, and it's I feel you just gotta get it done if you're really for the first day. You just really gotta push through it, and I feel the story in the first day of itself is good enough to really push you through it. I know that there's other stories or things like that where it's yeah, you're gonna just sit there and not really be invested into it, and I think this series does a good job with that on the first day with everything. Everything's actually worth listening to. And with that out of the way, we are going to get into the episode. Let's go. Ah, the bell. I was having such a nice dream, too. Though I can't remember it anymore. I can barely keep my eyes open right now. Hey. Junkun walks up to me, his lunchbox in hand, giving me an energetic greeting. Seeing him so full of energy is so refreshing. Although that's probably because I myself have none at the moment. Care for eat together? He asks this exact same question every single day, even though the answer is always the same. During the first 2 or so days, I found it pretty annoying, but now it's a bit funny. I guess he's a creature of habit. Morning. Now it's Shuichi's turn to show up. After we've studied together for so long, it feels so weird not having him around this year. Or at least it did for the first 2 days of class. Then he started showing up here all the time. And now it just feels like nothing's changed. Good morning, Shuichi-san. Shuichi's reaction to being called san continues to be as amusing as ever. Shuichi certainly is a weird person. He treats everyone with extreme deference and politeness, but the minute he becomes just slightly friendly with them, he completely drops all of that. And what's more mind-boggling is that he expects them to do the same, without ever telling them. But then again, I guess it's in his nature to be too considerate of other people to ever complain about it. If I asked, he'd probably just say that I'd be too petty to complain about something that small. Well, it's at least good to see that even after being placed in another class, Shuichi is still Shuichi. Good morning, Junkun. Still, it was scary to see how easily those two hit it off. Normally you'd be awkward around people you've only just met, but Shuichi quickly eased Junkun into our little group. As a result, Whenever Jun wasn't hanging around me, he was clinging to Shuichi. Asu! Saya's greeting is the complete opposite of Shuichi's, loud and full of energy. That's Saya, alright. She doesn't seem to show any sign of being affected by the Spartan training that's been happening this past week. I wish I could say that that's also refreshing, but it just pisses me off. Asu! Shuichi imitates her greeting, eliciting a laugh from the bunny. Oh, Mizuguchi-san, good morning. Saya gives Jun a nod of her head to acknowledge his greeting and proceeds to pull up a chair to my desk. By the way, Nico-kun, how are you holding up? Think you would last through today's practice? Actually, I was wondering that myself. You seemed like you were about to kick the bucket when we went home yesterday. Well, my legs feel like they're on fire, but I'll live. How many sets have you played this past week? 50? 95. Saya cuts in before I even have time to answer. Seriously? That's like full set matches a day. I feel tired just thinking about it. Which is ironic, given that you overwork your teammates on a regular basis. I don't really think so. I've been doing the same and it's been pretty easy. Saya's crazy assertion shocked Shuichi so much that he chokes on a piece of meat, nearly knocking down Jun's food as he hits the table. Yeah, but you're a demon when it comes to stamina. What? How rude. If she held the other club members to her own standards, we all would have died a long time ago. Saya crosses her arms, pouting. For some reason, probably the exhaustion affecting my judgment, I find this to be absolutely hilarious. Ow, it hurts when I laugh. Are you sure you're going to be okay? Don't worry about him, Kobayashi-kun. He deserves it. Hey, are you seriously saying I deserve to be in pain because I laughed? Give me a break. That's a little harsh, even from you. Not to worry though, I'm completely fine now. That's a lie. By the way, what's the score so far? I feel like someone just threw a bucket of cold water over me. 95-0. Shuichi chokes once again. Jun wasn't caught by surprise this time, immediately picking up his food and holding it away from the desk. I guess he's starting to get used to us, huh? You haven't won a single set? Sheesh, talk about a bad running. You guys are going to kill me like this. Well, at least you're not commenting on this topic. I already feel a bit better because of that. The boys have it rough though. Both Murasaki-san and Sasaki-san are ranked over 300 in the World Tennis Federation. Shuichi whistles in admiration. That's impressive. Since he made his professional debut 2 years ago, I thought he was still around the 700 ranks. I thought they were just regular college students. Well, I don't blame Jun for not understanding since he doesn't know the first thing about tennis. I'm sure in any other sport, if you said someone was ranked 300th, no one would probably think much of it. But considering how many athletes are registered in the World Tennis Federation, that's kind of impressive. They're going through college, yes, but they're on a sports program with one of the top training centers in the world. It's not even comparable to the stuff we have here in Japan. Saya's starting to get pretty excited. She's usually a big fan of anything related to tennis, so this isn't much of a surprise. You've been there once, haven't you? Now that he mentioned, I think I remember something like that. Almost as if she were waiting for someone to ask that question, Saya immediately props herself on the table with a giant smile on her face. She nearly knocked Jun's food down, but once again, he managed to get it out of the way just in time. Although his face tells me he isn't exactly happy about the constant attacks on his food. Yeah, I went over to the US last year to visit Kaito. What was it like over there? No, Junkun, don't go there. Once she starts talking, you can't get her to shut up. It was pretty confusing. Everything was in English and I kept getting lost, but their equipment was top class and every athlete had a personal instructor. It was so awesome. I knew it. Shuichi tries to say something but gets cut off by Saya immediately. And there were over 60 courts at each and every one of them. Shuichi reaches for Saya's shoulder, holding her tightly and pushing her back into her seat without much resistance. She simply goes along with it, having learned not to resist Shuichi when he gets a little more forceful like this. After all, he's much stronger than any of us, so there's really no point. Okay. Sounds like it was terrific, but can you please settle down? We're trying to have a conversation here, not a monologue. She crosses her arms, pouting. Spoil sport. Yeah, how dare I? I'm such a horrible person. The usual spiel, right? He's completely unaffected by it. Well, the training center does sound pretty good, though. Why don't you apply there too, Nico? If Murasaki-senpai improved that much in just 2 years, think of what it could potentially do for you. Wouldn't work. I'd only be allowed to use the center if I were a student at the university. Plus, it's one of the most highly sought-after tennis programs in the US. Getting in would be insanely difficult unless I studied like crazy in addition to being high-ranked in the national juniors rank. Shuichi crosses his arms, looking annoyed. And that would be a problem because... I'm sorry, why? It'd be a waste of time. I already know I'm going pro, so what would be the point of wasting my time going to college? If I have that much free time, I might as well use it for tennis. Shuichi shifts on his seat, looking away from me. It's easy to know what's going on in his mind right now, only partly because this argument has been happening a lot over the past year. He can't accept my decision and thinks that I'm being reckless by refusing to go to college in case my career as a pro doesn't pan out. But at the same time, he's far too considerate to just say it outright. You're an open book, Shuichi. It doesn't hurt to have a fallback plan in case you... I don't need one. I plan to devote all my time to tennis as soon as I finish school. Shouldn't you be looking to do the same? I'm quite aware that I'm being childish. Shuichi agreed to meet me halfway, but I just don't want to compromise. His expression darkened for only just a moment. It came and went so fast that you'd miss if you blinked. But regardless, it was there. He's not as good at masking his emotions as he thinks he is. He sighs, probably in an attempt to recompose himself. I already told you I'm not going pro, remember? Though he tries to say it as calmly as he can, his voice comes out in a monotone. That alone is enough to tell me I'm stepping close to dangerous territory. It's not like this is the first time we've talked about this. I've already tried to convince him many times, and yet he always shot me down without even giving me a chance. My mind keeps telling me that it has nothing to do with me. I'm not the one that has to make that choice. I should let it go. But before I knew it, my frustration and annoyance swelled so much that I can't keep my mouth shut. It's just so frustrating to see someone with this much skill completely giving up on something they're good at. Sure, I guess. Throughout this entire exchange, Jean's expression ranged from confused to uncomfortable. It's easy to see how this affects him, considering that he has no idea what's going on. Saya, on the other hand, did as she always does. She acted as if nothing was happening so she could steer away from the drama. Sly bunny. Many minutes after the other two had already left, Jean still looked uncomfortable after our earlier arguments. The mood was so ruined at our table that Shuichi and Saya just quietly finished their meals and left without another word. Come to think of it, since Jean only recently met us, he's never seen Shuichi and I argue before. Sorry, Jean. I should have been more mindful of you. You alright, Jean-kun? Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little lost. Do you guys argue like that a lot? No, not a lot. But sometimes the friendship is perfect. You can't get through life without a few rough patches here and there. But the only reason Shuichi and I get like that at times is because we really care about each other. I see. Damn it. Is his mood gonna be tanked for the rest of the day? Jesus, what have we done? Oh, and speaking of good RPGs, there's this really old one that I really liked as a kid. I was wrong. Not 5 minutes after that tense conversation of ours, Jean's mood has been completely uplifted. I guess I should be relieved about... And I should probably thank Kumagawa for walking in our conversation when we heard me awkwardly trying to make conversation about games, but... I really thought that she would get killed, but this hero showed up at the last second and saved her. It was so cool. It really subverted the trope of... Actually, if you can't get enough affection points, it's possible to get an alternate ending where she dies. All you have to do is... They won't shut up about it. Oh, and during the final boss fight, you could... Send help! Once again, the bell brings me back to reality. Jeez, I'm having a really hard time keeping myself awake. Hey! Once more, I'm greeted energetically by Jean. I appreciate his enthusiasm, but don't his batteries ever run out? Whatever. It's too hot right now. I'll just get hotter if I keep worrying too much. Nico-san, would you mind if I tag along today too? Huh? I don't particularly mind, but why today? Those guys you've been playing against leave today, don't they? I just thought I might get to watch your revenge. Is that so? Crap, why do I suddenly feel even more pressure? As expected, it's also unbearably hot in here. Why is it so hot today? We're in the middle of spring. Please don't let this be an indicative of how summer's going to go. No, don't think such thoughts. They only make things even hotter. Huh, Nico. I was starting to think you'd be late. I'm sorry to have made you wait, Senpai. Are you prepared for the qualifiers tomorrow? Murasaki-senpai's expression immediately turned bitter. I guess... I'm still a bit annoyed that I haven't managed to beat Kenma in a single practice match so far. I've already noticed that Sasaki-san is crazy good. How did you two even meet anyway? We go to the same college. Isn't it normal that we know each other? Although once Kenma graduates at the end of this year, I'm gonna be pretty lonely. Sasaki-san is a senior? Yeah, he's the oldest Japanese player in the program. Not that that's much of a surprise though, since there's only 3 of us there to begin with. Kenma used to be the #1 player in Japan during his time, you know. He's a pretty big deal, even in our program. Really? How many players do you guys have at your training center? We have 60 or so guys, I think. Kenma is the highest ranked of them all. Can you believe it? Wow, I had no idea Sasaki-san was doing so well. I guess it should have come as no surprise that he's such a strong opponent. What about you, Senpai? How do you fare in the program? Me, I'm doing okay, I guess. What's your internal rank then? Man, you're not gonna like this, huh? I'm 37th. Huh? A real far cry from Sasaki-san then. I wonder, what's someone like Sasaki-san doing still competing in challenger events? What about your World Tennis Federation ranks? I should probably have looked into it, but with so much going on recently, I forgot to. I'm 316th. Not too shabby, huh? His smile is very smug. Yeah, you're doing pretty good for yourself considering how you've only been at it for 2 years. What about Sasaki-san? Kenma? He's 180th. I whistle in admiration. Looks like he's cut from a different cloth entirely. He's only been at it for longer. I can totally beat him. I just need more experience. Is that so? Well, in that case, I can hardly wait to see what you're going to do when you get more of this magical skill gap closing experience that you're going on about. Kenma? Mikado-san sent me here to fetch you since we were about to begin practice, but I suppose you'd rather stay here and boast to your former underclassmen? Kenma, wait a second. I have deja vu bells ringing all over my head watching those two interact. Nico-kun, could you get started with your preparations? The boys won't be able to stay with us for the entire day like they have for the past few days, so you'll only be able to get one match against each of them. Yes, sir. I guess I should start warming up then. I turn around to talk to Jeune, who's been silently watching me since we first walked into the building. Well, except for when I was getting changed. During that time, he was awkwardly looking away with his face beat red. Are you sure you're okay with me just leaving you here? It can't be that interesting to watch our practice without doing anything. Don't worry about it. I have fun watching. Well, I guess I'll just do as he says then. Alright, if you say so. I'm gonna get started on my warm-up, but feel free to come talk to me until my match starts. Sure. Alright, we're going to get started on our first match of the day. Murasaki versus Mishimaya. Now, Nico-kun, do try to win at least once, will you? Shut up! I'm already trying to! Stupid crocodile, sticking his stupid nose where it's not needed. Murasaki-senpai smiles at me, giving me the okay signal. Just like in our first match, he's asked me to take the first serve. I'm afraid of getting it so easily broken like last time, but I want to test myself. I can feel that I've made substantial progress since our first match. I want to believe that I can at least keep my serve, if not outright win a set. And we will be facing Murasaki next time on Tennis Ace. Take care, guys.